Throughout this podcast, I want to be able to take you through the journey from the end of high school towards the end of my college degree and where I find myself today and how I break it into segments where we look at it piece by piece, storyline from then to now and the challenges that I faced throughout those certain parts of my life and how I was able to overcome them and how I'd like the audience to be able to take those successes and maybe be able to apply them in your everyday life. How certain things that may tell you along the way may resonate with where you are today and how it can maybe help you tackle those things in today's life. I also want to be able to bring on special guests throughout the podcast of close friends of mine and peers of mine that have made a name for themselves today and are continuing to do so and get their story out here as well. How to be able to give you a different point of view, not just through me, but through them and older construction subcontractors as well. How they've made a name for themselves in today's world as well. And how through all these different viewpoints, you can be successful one day and it's not going to happen overnight. Everybody has a different length of when that happened to them. But how if you keep working hard enough, one day, you may find yourself in that successful position you want to see yourself in. Welcome to the Birds Nest Podcast, your host, Alberto Contreras. Going into episode 1, the intro. I want to talk about a little bit in this podcast, my story and the challenges I faced getting to where I am right now. And hopefully the audience can take those challenges or my successes and apply them to your life and help you get to your next step where you want to see yourself in. I want to talk about my journey in this life and the actions and challenges I face growing up as a first-gen Latino child in this world. How a boy who only saw construction around him decided to make a change for himself and change those norms that were set up for him. Growing up, my father was a framer, and that's all he did his entire life. That's what he still does. And I helped him out since we were kids. Don't get me wrong, it's a good paying job. I didn't mind doing it if that's where I was going to be at, but there was always a problem with that to me. I just never really felt like that's where I needed to be at. In this world of construction, I grew up helping them since we were young because that was the only way to actually, get that extra money to be able to buy those nice toys or things that we wanted growing up. And we were okay with it. We knew that my father wasn't as far as well out as others were, but he tried to give us the best life that he could. So we understood that, me and my brothers growing up. So my father would work so hard Monday through Saturday, long shifts, 10 to 12 hours a day. And it was all to give us a better life. I remember, being next to him sometimes on the job, and he'd always say something that would stick with me for the rest of my life. He would always say, he's like, look, guys, look what I have to do to put a roof over y'all's heads. It's not easy. Like, I want y'all to study so y'all can make something of yourselves and hopefully, be that change. And by the grace of God and enough studying and putting the work into it and the support of my parents, I find myself today reaching that goal I had since I was a kid. Growing up with my father, I'd always see that builder that was around us parked on the side. And while we were working outside in the intense heat, I was like, oh, he just gets to sit there with air conditioning. And I was like, it's a nice, like, respectable job. One day I'd hope to be there. And thankfully I can say that I'm there and I'm succeeding in life with where I thought I'd be at one day. And it's all by the grace of God. Was it an easy journey? Of course not. There was obstacles. I had to I had to put in the work to get to where I am today. What I want to tell you guys through this podcast is what it takes to break these norms that are put in the place of reaching success. That it's breaking these norms of challenging yourself to beat what we're told that we couldn't do. That's hard, that's impossible. And if you put enough work into it, that one day you'll find yourself there. And it's so much better than had you not giving yourself that chance and taking that role. Who knows how far the ladder of success you'd be at. Thankfully, every time I've ever faced a challenging step towards that next step where I wanted to be at, I know it was scary, but I'm happy and thankful that I took that step because it turned out for the best. And who knows how far I'd be down my own ladder of success had I not taken these chances. I want the audience to really just take from this podcast that there's going to be challenges in life. Life isn't easy, but it's worth fighting for. And if you try hard enough and never give up, one day you'll find yourself in that place that you thought that you could never be at. And it's not as hard as you think. You might not know when that day is, but if you keep grinding one day, you're going to find yourself in a place where you can look at the mirror and be able to tell yourself, wow, is that really you? Like, you're killing it. I don't even recognize this person anymore. And it's an amazing feeling to feel because people say good things about you, and the community sees, and your friends and peers also see, and family. And that's amazing for me. I was never in it for the self-recognition. I don't really care what people think, but when they speak good about me to my parents, it makes them really proud. And that's the biggest reward I could ever have. Like, for my parents to feel like they raised me well, and through this, I'm representing them in a way. So I want to be that extra voice that can tell you guys, you can do it. Just go out there and challenge yourself day by day and try to be a better part in your community. Thank you.